bien, Amanda. And good evening, everyone. Uh, who do we have in the chat? We have Jens saying good evening, everybody. Good evening to you, Jens. We have Superghost UK. Bonjour once again. Yes, precisely. Bonjour à tout le monde. Okay, today my I I don't have, can't seem to find the remote for my chair lighting, but doesn't matter really. Doesn't matter. It still has some light on it. Okay, how are we doing today? Jens, how are you doing? Jens, how are you doing? Seems to be a third person in the live stream on YouTube, but perhaps they wish to remain anonymous. Who knows? Oh, I, not bad, thanks. And yourself? Nothing to complain. Well, I could always complain how shitty life is, how horrible life is, but life is okay. Life is good. I I had an interesting day at work. Um, as I've probably mentioned before, I have a student now with me. Peter says, "Good day, mate." Okay, good day, mate. Okay, I'll have to fix my light. And if you Okay, yes, I was muted once again. Thank you, Jens. Okay, so Jens says, "Hi, Peter." Superghost says, "Willkommen once again, Herr Peter." Okay, so let's see what we have here in the. We have Stefan, is the little hedgehog we love, who lives in the in my little watering can here. Okay, and we have. Always so cute and cuddly, Bertil. Now, because I might lose myself on the way today. Hey Google, who am I?
Your name is Heidi.
Hey Google, thank you very much.
Just doing my job.
Okay, so news. Uh, I wanted to get an update on certain. Why am I still not? Okay. Sorry, I had the camera was taken off there today earlier because it was needed elsewhere. So I think, hang on, I'm going on quite a low bit rate, aren't I? How does my sound and image? How does that go? because I was streaming a game the other day, and I had to lower the bitrate for the game, for the streaming bitrate for the game. So I'm more than curious as to how it may look. So I'm more than curious. Yes, I'm on the watch page. Well, it doesn't look as good as I would love to, but I think it does the job. Okay, so image and sound is all good because yes, I the bitrate instead of my usual bitrate 9000. I'm currently running on bitrate 5000 because and apparently I'm not even recording this myself for myself. So because I usually record this for myself, but I forgot to get the bitrate up. But if it's good enough, it's okay. Okay, it's still 1080p, 60 FPS, not as much as I hoped. Maybe I'll just take that one. Oh, maybe, I don't know. Okay, let's go. Oh, yeah. Look at this. Look at this. This is sick. This just makes me sick to my stomach. Just okay. Let's go. Let let's go and go. Let's go through this horrendous piece of shit. This piece of shit here is the Oklahoma State Senator Bob Strandridge. Let's let's hear him out, okay? The Oklahoma Senator Rob Standridge, Republican, has introduced a legislation that would allow parents to sue any school educator who teaches anything in opposition to closely held religious beliefs of students, uh, which is paraphrased from, which is just basically something paraphrased from what the closely held religious beliefs of the parent, not the kid. Okay, Standridge has also introduced a bill that would give individual parents the power to demand the removal of any books from the school shelves that they believe contains LGBTQ content. While the proposed laws are reminiscent of religious edicts imposed by the Taliban in Afghanistan, Standridge, a Trump follower, isn't backing down from his hateful attacks on the LGBTQ community. Jens said in the chat says, if a Muslim country did the same, he'd call them repressive and evil and demand military action. Precisely, exactly. There's a related article saying school district bans books on gender identity and students' chosen pronouns. Uh huh. Which I didn't check this article. This is in Pennsylvania. We might as well just have a look at that. a bit later on. Okay, so going along with the article, the bill would allow parents to sue teachers for $10,000 per incident per individual. The fine would need to be paid by the teacher from personal resources, and the educator cannot receive any assistance from individuals or groups. If the teacher is unable to pay up and receives assistance, they will be fired immediately and unable to teach in the state for 5 years. Come on, for fuck's sake! How? That's a military state. That's pretty much. Let's bring up chat a bit bigger. Okay. Do you know where and by whom this things like this have been done most recently? By the Taliban in Afghanistan. Exactly the same. And I will come to something that reminded me of something even more horrendous and something even more scary. I mean, seriously crazy, seriously sad, and seriously crazy. In this time and age, it was like shocking, absolutely shocking to me. Not just in the context of not just in the context of LGBTQ, but in world politics happening now in the United States of America, approved of by the local and state authorities, which is really scary. It makes me stick to my stomach. Super Ghost says, typical ultra conservative nonsense, quote unquote, respect my values that I can spread fear and hate about you and don't say anything bad about my beliefs. And if this goes somewhere along the lines of they're putting their fingers in their ears, go la 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 la. I don't hear you. It doesn't exist, and they ban. They know. They know this. They know that queer people exist. Sure, they do, but it's false pretense. They want to make make believe, if you will. They want to pretend queer people don't exist. They shun and censor everything that goes into contrary with their own their own make believe, if you like. Okay, so but and I quote, this is from journalist Hemant Mehta explains, a biology teacher who explains evolution could be ratted out by a creationist who's failing science class, a health teacher who educates students about different forms of birth control won't be in that classroom for very long if an abstinence promoting teenager, read abstinence promoting parent, not teenager but parent, is on the roster. A history teacher who correctly describes the founding fathers as a mix of religions and non-religious individuals could be a target of conservative evangelicals who believe Christian pseudo historian David Barton's lies. Yes, they just want to make this make believe pseudo. They want to rewrite. They want to rewrite history uh, to make it to make it fit to make it fit their own beliefs. Um, it was some years ago that I think it was a documentary of some sort, or a short, very brief documentary that which featured these ultra conservative evangelicals, and I think it had something to do with this vile pastor Steve Anderson, and there was a couple or a family who were denounced for who had to leave from a congregation, either by being kicked out or or by moving to a different city or something, and they were advised to to go look for a good congregation, not necessarily a congregation of the same branch of the same branch of Christianity, but to go to go to start going to the different local churches and to see which church fits their beliefs. They don't have the mentality is that they don't have they don't have to conform. It's the church that needs to conform. Church needs to conform to their beliefs, and this is what happens here. In the chat, Supergov says it's very close tactics to what happened in Germany during the Third Reich. There's only one answer to people like this: the finger salute. Exactly. Yen says it starts with banning books. Then they're burning books. Next they kill the people that don't fit the quote unquote norm. And I will come back to burning books later on. In this live stream, I will talk about burning books. And you wouldn't believe why. Okay. Uh, an English teacher who wants to challenge kids with controversial thoughts provoking literature would be forced to stick to only the blandest books. Slandridge's book banning legislation states that schools should be banned from carrying texts that cover uh, these topics: the study of sex, sexual preferences, sexual activity, sexual perversion, sex based classifications, sexual identity, or gender identity, or books that are of sexual nature. It claims that these books must be banned because, and I quote, in a reasonable parent or legal guardian would want to know of or approve of them prior to their child being exposed to them. This is something that reminds me of a former teacher of mine, some 20 years ago. She there's the biggest Finnish newspaper, daily newspaper is Helsingin Sanomat, which is a very reputable publication. Does write things as one would expect from the biggest daily newspaper in a civilized Western country like Finland. She cut out every single story that she thought wouldn't be appropriate for her daughter. All about all stories that had to do with war, uh, death, uh, people war, terrorism, just regular death, just basic, everyday, mundane deaths, illness, depression, etc. And who and how old was this daughter at the time? 17 to 19. Anyway, back to the article. According to the bill, school staff would be required to remove school staff would be required to remove any such book within 30 days of a parent request. One parent requires asks remove this book. They have 30 days to comply. Otherwise, yeah, according to the bill, if staff doesn't comply, they will be terminated. Everyone who doesn't censor these books gets fired. Not only that, but they will be blocked from being hired at any other public school in the state for 2 years. It gets even wilder. The bill would entitle parents who have requested the removal of a book to seek damages in amount of a minimum 10,000 United States dollars per day for each day the book remains on the shelves. Come on. Standridge has named specific books that concern him, including Trans Teen Survival Guide and a quick and easy guide to they them pronouns, calling them overly sexualized. What the fuck? What? In a Facebook post, Standridge called on the local school system to remove a book by Nobel Prize winning novelist Toni Morrison. Nothing to do with Toni Morrison III of the Pennsylvania Bible and Tract Society. The book tells the story of a young African American girl named Pecola who grew up following the Great Depression, which would be in turn of 1920s and 30s. If I remember correctly, early 30s. Anyway, set in 1941, the story is about how she is consistently regarded "quote unquote" ugly because of her mannerisms and dark skin. As a result, she develops an inferiority complex, which fuels her desire for blue eyes, which she equates with whiteness. Yeah, I have never heard of this man, and I have never read the book, but many of my many of my followers and friends who have gone to have been raised up in an English speaking country, native English speakers, and been raised in the English speaking school system would probably know this book, or at least its writer. Um, I and I quote: "I am struggling here trying to think of any parents who that would read this to their child." Standridge wrote, "What parents would want a person they probably never or hardly met, and certainly whose belief system is unknown, read or recommend a book with such scene to their teenage child?" Oh, um, and he goes on to say, "It's parents' responsibility and exclusive right to guard, yes, censor, what materials are appropriate for their child. I am certain that there are thousands slash millions of other books that are much more appropriate, and we can set these books for once a child becomes an adult and is free to pick their reading material outside of the exclusive guardianship of their parents." And tags book, book banning, Christian morals, Christian Taliban. Yes, this is looks like Christian Taliban. Oklahoma Republicans rob Standard's school board meetings. Okay, let's go to banning certain books in Penridge School District in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Recently announced it will remove all books on gender identity from its elementary school libraries. What the fuck? Uh, Going forward, Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Education Anthony Robertzik emailed elementary school principals and librarians instructing them to remove all content regarding sexual identity. Why? 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 Perkele. This pisses me off. Hmm? Claiming to protect students, the email states the books containing material on gender identity should be kept in places where only school counselors and administrators have access, so they can be provided to parents or guardians upon request. Um, Developmentally, these topics should always involve conversations between students, the student, and trusted adults, both home and school. How in the good Lord would the school and the student be able to uh, have a reasonable discussion uh, if these books are banned? If you ban this material, you ban trans people or trans identity. The move comes as a slew of schools across the country have moved to ban LGBTQ content this year, and this would have been 2021 last, so that's last year. Uh, in instance, in one instance in Spotsylvania County, Virginia, two board members even suggested the banned books be burnt. Come on, seriously. In addition to banning these resources from getting directly into student hands, Penridge School District also is issued strict guidelines for students who want to change their names or pronouns. Yeah, okay. Superghost says these these are the same Trump supporters that claim anyone slightly left leaning are national socialists, yet they are the ones that keep flying the swastika flag. Exactly, and they should probably a former flatmate was of the opinion that every left-leaning person is a communist, and the National Socialist Party, he claims, are communist. But I hardly disagree. But we should go into a. I might as well just go back to that. I don't know. Um, yes, a student says I think they're trying to hide the LGBTQ community, but that is uh, exactly right. They're trying to hide it because out of sight, out of mind. They just they don't want to think about it, and if they don't see it, they don't. It doesn't exist. If they don't see it, it doesn't exist. Uh, Jens says communists were among the first being put into the camps, precisely. And are you ready to go to the real shitty thing? Hmm? What does that look like to you? Let me. Okay. Okay, I was muted. Sorry. Yes, I will show you pictures. I will show you pictures, and these may be upsetting to some. Um, to be fair, these contain some pictures contain Nazis. Okay, let's go. We have this. These are anti-LGBTQ hate preacher Greg Locke leading his flock during burning books. An anti-LGBTQ hate preacher led his congregation in an old-fashioned book burning in Tennessee. Pastor Greg Locke claimed to, quote unquote, delivering his flock from demons by casting novels like Harry Potter and Twilight into the flames. Look, and of course, he has a long history of anti-LGBTQ. Yeah, reenactments of crucifixion. Anti-LGBTQ zealots literally burning books in Tennessee. Look at this picture. Look at this very carefully. I will show you book another group of people burning books. This picture here looks familiar, doesn't it? Very, very familiar. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. I'm not saying Greg Locke and his people are Nazis, but you know. I'm probably gonna have this live stream taken down by YouTube because I've talked about Nazis. But hey, that's how it goes. Okay. And Locke, this Pastor Greg Locke, is known for his over-the-top stunts in the name of Jesus that lines his pockets while pumping out dangerous rhetoric. Last year, he streamed a revival live on social media and bragged to the audience about the number of people who were watching online. Last year, Locke held Easter church service in the face of coronavirus pandemic and went so far as to quote unquote reenact the crucifixion, setting up a cross outside the church that his own son was put on and dressing up his teen daughter as Virgin Mary. He has a long history of anti-LGBTQ comments. He has said that LGBTQ people are quote unquote perverted, and to, and I quote, cram it down to my kids' throats, called transgenderism nonsense, and said LGBTQ people are openly celebrated and not persecuted like Christians. And oh, the good old persecution complex. What else? Hmm? God, and he goes on to say, God is not. God is taking note, and so is the devil. Locke proclaimed before leading his flock outside the giant bonfire. Let's give the devil a black eye. Well, Supergirl says, ironically, these people would cry louder than anyone in the LGBTQ community if they were prosecuted and treated as they treat all lesbian, gay, bi, and trans combined. Same mentality. Is the Klan still active there? I don't. I don't. I have no idea if the Klan is still active. Yeah, I think. Uh, yeah, yeah. Is the Klan? Yeah, it's still been diluted. There's another. There's the original Klan uh, this was disbanded. There's a. Do we have? Uh, do we have? I later. As of right now, there are only a few. Um, only few independent groups using the KKK name, the clans, and as of 2007, they have 5,000 members. In comparison to 1924, in 1924, the KKK had 6 million members in the US alone. So, this isn't really a. Yeah. Um, Superghost says, this so-called God of love sure does tell people to hate more than anything. Yeah. The clown was kicked out of the UK and was so conservatives back then. Pizza says they have just renamed themselves to avoid prosecution, in my opinion. Yeah, they have, probably. But still, this is dangerous. This development is dangerous. This is super dangerous. Okay? This is just sad. Super sad. Any thoughts on the original, the first article that I went through? Uh, that the Oklahoma thing. Actually, I know someone who lives in Oklahoma. I might as well just ask them. Okay. By the way, just just a quick reminder of my Patreon. There's starting from €3 a month or equivalent in your money if it's available. Otherwise, you'll see the amount in euros. You'll get all kinds of nice stuff, and I have one patron, and that patron is Flems. Flems is a very nice person. I I like him. I like Flems. Flems is a nice person. So join Flems, and you'll get extra access on my Discord server. I mean the uh, channel server, that is. So do I have? I think I had some comments that I wanted to go through. Ah, yes. When my, do you remember when I? Yeah. Why do we have it? Okay, this conversion therapy video that I had about regarding the French situation. Okay. Okay. Where do we have it? Okay, here. Here we have the comment here from some Frank Jordan saying, "So you're glad it's U apostrophe RE, by the way, Mr. Jordan. So you're glad when gay rights are taken away, homophobic bigot. I'm not rejoicing on any rights for anyone here. It's just taking away the right of the Christian zealots, the religious zealots, to torture you. That's the only right that is being taken away. They can't torture you anymore, and that does not make me homophobic or transphobic, whatever. Okay, and I'm yet to hear from Mr. Frank Jordan. Okay, and we have the from a week ago. So we did video from a week ago. Apparently, Mr. Jordan's friend has found their way to my channel. Look at this, saying some presser smorg, saying this is the channel that shared on the removal of gay rights because she disagreed what we get to choose. Well, not really, no. Not really. Not really. Because it's not a choice. Because there is nothing to choose. You cannot choose to heal this way because it doesn't work. If Preston and Preston Smork and Frank Jordan have, for example, tried it through living waters. It's Andy Couch or something. Andy something, the founder and long-term head of Living Waters. And Living Waters is one of the biggest organizations that was providing conversion therapy. The founder himself said it doesn't work. It was all make believe. And it is one time after another been shown to be it's shown to be bullshit. It's religious zealotry. So it's not. You cannot choose. You cannot choose because there is. because you cannot choose who you are. You can choose religious bigotry. Religious bigotry and zealotry is something that you can choose. But being queer is something that you cannot choose to be or choose to be or not to be. Okay, Super goes. It's sickening that he wants to continue such old-fashioned thinking. We have socially evolved so much over the past 100 years. It's time they catch up. Precisely, I agree. I agree 100% with. What do Super Ghost says you choose what to eat and where, not who you are. Precisely. Um, Jens says, meanwhile, in Germany, knowledge of the LGBTQ plus is getting into the primary into the school curriculum, even at the primary school, along with sex ed for the relevant ages. Yes, actually, in Finland, the LGBTQ is part of the curriculum. The LGBT stuff is, or the knowledge of the at least the primary knowledge of LGBTQ plus is in the uh, primary school curriculum. Here, primary school is years 1 to 6, and school starts at the age of 7. School in Finland, school starts at the age of 7. Uh, Primary school is years 1 through 6. Secondary school is years 7 to 9, and an extra year for those who may have struggled in school to get them the chance to get to get some support in learning and raise their scores in the elementary school, or the year or the final diploma, and then high school years 10 to yes 10, 11, 12, and an option for that is of course the vocational school, where you can get these professional degrees, um, like a plumber, a truck driver, etc., and the cleaning industry, uh, bus driver, truck driver, etc., etc. You can get um, the alternative, and with both routes, you have the you're qualified to apply for university. And I remember my ex ex-wife's son when he was in grade 5, I think. They had a visitor. They actually arranged a gay man to come in and talk to the kids, to tell the kids what it's like to be. You know what's the deal? What is it? What it's like being gay in Finland. Like, what is gay? What does it mean that when a person says they're gay? What does it mean? And what is it like to be gay in Finland in year 5? And I think it was mandatory. And I think it was mandatory for everyone, all students in grade 5. And mind you that, but and everyone attended. Every single student attended. And mind you, we have in that school a lot of something like half of the kids are have an immigrant background. So it's, and even in those schools, they get these visitors, and they get everyone to attend. So it's nice to get this, and they I think uh, my ex's older boy said they had something of the some LGBTQ stuff in sex ed in year 8, I think. So we do have it here in Finland in public. There are no private. Basically, there are no private schools. Um, well, there are private schools, but many of a lot of the students, um, a lot of the students that go there are go there because they it's the closest school to them, but it doesn't cost any extra. It doesn't cost any extra to go to a private school. My ex's older boy went to a private school, and it didn't. There was no extra price tag on it. So, and these private schools are strictly controlled by the state. Is they must have the state. They must have the same curriculum. The kids the kids have the same. They basically have the same books, not precise same books, but they all have books that contain the same things. That's the same things, and they are taught the same things. So Peter says we should be celebrating our differences, not condemning them precisely. However, we should condemn these homo or this LGBTQ plus phobic zealots. That those we are not supposed to celebrate these zealots, but we are supposed to celebrate the true differences in the in life. Anyway, there are links in the description. Once again, the playlists are there. The playlists are there. The invitation links are to my Discord servers are there. All is in there. Playlists, etc. And my links to my Patreon, PayPal for one-time donations, if you wish to do so. And on a Monday, there will be the 20th episode of Culture Corner. Let me check. Excuse me, I think it's the 20th that I won't be. Yes, it's the 20th episode of Culture Corner will be next Monday. Okay? And so, thumbs up, thumbs down. It's always interaction is interaction. Feeding the beast is always a good thing in this case. Feed the algorithm. Comment below. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Subscribe and tickle the notification bell. And I will see you with Stefan and Bertil on Monday for Culture Corner episode 20, 9 p.m. UK as usual. I will see you then.